This is Steph from Double Move Sports, and you're watching the Fantasy Film Room. Over the last few years, we've seen exceptional rookie running backs break onto the NFL scene. Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara, and Ezekiel Elliott, just to name a few. In Week 9, we saw a little-known rookie, Devin Singletary, have a very good stat line in a day that made his fantasy owners very happy. As I've been listening and reading fantasy content this week, I've been seeing some high praise for Singletary, asking if he's the next rookie running back to break onto the scene. While I do see some promise in him, to me, he is a flex play with upside and absolutely a sell high after he plays Cleveland and Miami over the next 2 weeks. However, he is not a set it and forget it RB2. Singletary is primarily a pass-catching back that the team uses on the ground to throw off defenses. After reviewing the film from the Bills' Week 9 matchup with the Redskins, there were some interesting takeaways from this game and some very interesting play calls that skew the stat lines for both Singletary and the thorn in fantasy owners' side, the NFL's 4th all-time rushing yards leader, Frank Gore. Singletary may be the future of the Bills, but he's not the present. Here are the stat lines from Frank Gore and Devin Singletary in this game and across the rest of the season. We know the Buffalo Bills are a team that wants to run the ball more than they want to air it out. We saw this over the last couple years with LaShawn McCoy, and in 2019, the Bills run the ball on almost 45% of their plays, 9th most in the NFL. And it's working. The Bills are 6-2 and look like a frontrunner for the AFC wildcard. But with all that said, I'm still not buying into the 5'7", 203-pound rookie with 4.6 speed. Let's break it down. First, let's take a look at Singletary. Keep in mind the Redskins have allowed the 5th most rushing yards this year. On the first snap of their drive, the Bills hand the ball off to Singletary up the middle for a 4-yard gain. The next play they hand it off to Singletary again for a 3-yard gain. What you're going to start to notice is that the Bills send a man in motion almost every time they hand off the ball, and you'll see that they really did want to get Singletary going early in this game. Later in this same drive, on 1st and 10, the Bills send a man in motion the opposite direction and toss Singletary the ball. 2 linemen pull and set blocks for him, and even though one of the blocks wasn't great, I'll credit Singletary here for his vision and awareness to get to the outside. He gets a nice 17-yard gain here before getting chased down. On the very next play, the Bills send a man in motion and hand off to Singletary for a 2-yard gain. This drive ended in a Cole Beasley touchdown on the next play. The Bills get the ball back on the 10 after a Washington punt. Again, the Bills send a man in motion and hand Singletary the ball. The offensive line and one of the receivers create a nice hole for Singletary, but he almost runs into one of his own blockers, and the defender is able to bring him down by reaching around the lineman. This should have been a nice gain with only one man to beat, but Singletary didn't exhibit enough patience and vision here to let the play develop for him. This is a Todd Gurley, Lev Bell, James White style screen. He uses one of his strengths here, his vision, and ability to break tackles. Add on some solid blocking, and that's a 49-yard gain. A few plays later, and we see a play that, if the Bills could execute on, would take Singletary to the next level. The Redskins are expecting a run here on 1st and 10. The Bills send a man in motion, and then throw something at the Redskins they do not expect. They send Singletary on a wheel route up the seam. However, since the Redskins had 8 guys in the box here, one of them got a free shot at Josh Allen, who tries to take a shot in the end zone to Singletary, but the ball gets batted down by the back of Josh Norman's helmet. After a Redskins field goal, Singletary starts to warm up a bit on the ground. We see 3 excellent moves on defenders, and he makes a nice 9-yard gain. These are the plays that get you excited for his potential as a 3-down back for the Bills and for dynasty owners. After this, we see a 4-yard gain on 1st down, a 7-yard gain on 2nd down, which Frank Gore then matches with a 6-yard gain on 1st down. At the end of this drive, we see something that is terrible for Singletary and the Bills. On 3 back-to-back plays on the 1-yard line, the Bills hand it off to Gore, and every time he gets stuffed. They did not decide after the second failed attempt to try something different with Singletary on 3rd down, and it's made clear here that Gore is the goal line back. You'll see many more plays in this game where Gore is used in a very similar goal line type of situation, maybe on 2nd and 3 or 4th and 1. When the Bills get the ball back in the second half, they try to get Singletary going on the ground. They give him the ball 5 times on this drive. He doesn't do a ton on 4 carries as the Bills are trying to run some clock on this drive, but he does make a nice 17-yard gain on another toss play. in these toss plays, Singletary is doing well. I don't want to take any credit away from him, but he's not doing anything we haven't seen Frank Gore be able to do. Add that in with how rarely the Bills actually run a toss, combined with the man in motion, and you can see how the Redskins are able to get a little bit exposed here. Singletary gets 11 more touches in this game after this play, totaling just 16 yards from scrimmage on 9 carries and 2 receptions. He ends his day with a touchdown with 2 minutes left when the Bills already have an 8-point lead. I realize this goes against my point of touches on the goal line, but notice the play design. As opposed to running it up the middle, like the Bills like to do, Singletary breaks to the outside. Luckily for him, he does get a nice touchdown here. Now think back to Frank Gore's goal line stand where he gets stuffed 3 times in a row. Poor situations and stacked boxes is pretty much all of what Gore faced in this game. Here were his touches. Up the middle on 2nd and 1. Up the middle against a very stacked box on 2nd and 4. Up the middle on 2nd and 2. The 6-yard gain on 1st down we saw from earlier. 3 goal line stuffs. A stuffed 4th and 1 where the Bills don't bother to run a man in motion. And then he gets 3 more carries in garbage time when the Bills just want to run the clock. Look, I'm not telling you that Singletary isn't a good player. Like I said, I believe he is the future of this Bills backfield. But what we're going to see is Frank Gore take away touches at the goal line and then some. The Bills aren't going to turn all backfield duties over to Singletary after just 1 solid week against a soft Washington front. If you want to hold Singletary for 2 more weeks against Cleveland and Miami, I think he is a flexible running back with upside who can help your lineup. But after that, he plays Denver, on the road against Dallas, at home against the Ravens, at Pittsburgh, and then at Foxborough against New England in Week 16. I just traded Julian Edelman and Devin Singletary for Julio Jones in one of my leagues. There are teams out there that need a running back in your league. Leverage Singletary's perceived value to solidify your lineup as you look to make a playoff run. Let us know in the comments who you guys would like to see me break down next. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And for more hot takes, narratives, predictions, and fantasy analysis, subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media. This is Steph from Double Move Sports, and I'll see you next time.